The Hunter. Finale. Entry 8. Scotch here. I found this journal open with its owner sleeping on top of it. It's strange he hasn't told you his name yet. Anyway, I'll let him divulge that information on his own. So, Kid and I are at the tavern for the night. He looks like he needs it. We went through a bottle of whiskey before we passed out. I grabbed a second one on my way out, though. The bartender is a really swell guy. Anyway, I was going through Texas files when I came across something important. I guess he didn't want anyone else to know about this. After reading it myself, I don't blame him. I'll start from the beginning and summarize as best as I can. June of 2017. Agent T-3X, aka Henry, single father to solitary daughter. Wife deceased due to redacted. Individual has attracted our interest due to recent events resulting in the death of his daughter. Likelihood to comply, potentially high. The following data has been collected and compiled of said individual. Henry, from the age of 16 to age 35, had been the muscle of his gang. Him and his boss, Mr. Redacted, had challenged every gang and their respective leaders to expand their turf, eventually stretching along the entirety of the southern Texas border. Due to Henry's inhumane strength and stature, most men would cower and give up instead of challenging the behemoth of a man. Two gang leaders challenged his might, a pair of brothers. The younger of the two was more brash and had a lack of patience, whilst the elder chose to assess Henry's true strengths and weaknesses. Through analyzing his actions, the younger brother insulted Henry, seeing which slander would cause anger to rise, while the elder watched in silence. Upon mentioning children, Henry sprung towards the younger brother, resulting in his face being pummeled inwards. The remaining brother praised Henry and his strength, claiming his brother was undefeated until that day. He relented to Mr. Redacted's lapdog and gave him his turf. 2 weeks followed in the time Henry was given leave to return home to spend time with his family. Arriving, he found his daughter had gone missing. After narrowing down the culprits, he found the kidnapper to be the elder brother gang leader. Enraged by this betrayal, Henry tracked him down to an abandoned warehouse. He found many tubes of liquid and various colors within the structure. Entering deeper into the warehouse, he found the gang leader hovering over his daughter on a gurney. Without hesitation, Henry grabbed the man and smashed his head repeatedly into the cement floor, continuously after they were dead. Looking at his daughter, she was barely conscious. He embraced her, only to be shocked to feel pain from her teeth tearing into his neck. Holding her at arm's length, she no longer resembled her former self. Her eyes were dead and full of hunger. Having no other choice, Henry snapped the neck of his own child. Holding her lifeless body, weeping relentlessly. 2 months passed. Henry had been in prison, given multiple life sentences. He was offered an opportunity to put his skills to use once again, under a more moral system. With slight hesitation, he signed the rest of his life away as a hunter. After finishing that, I had to finish off my second bottle. Damn it. I'm a grown-ass man, and I can't stop crying. Entry 9. Scotch again. Something's not right. I woke up with a hangover around 10, and Kid's gone. This journal was exactly how I left it. I've gone through it front to back, no extra notes. No messages, nothing. It looks like a page was torn out. I've looked everywhere in the tavern. Not only that, but no one was there. The bartender, the waitress, nobody's here. I don't know what to do, so I returned back to the room and sat down on my mattress. An hour passed when a knock came at the door. I opened it in a rush, hope fading from my eyes upon seeing Arachne. Before I could ask her if she'd seen Kid, she asked me where he was. I told her what happened, resulting in an annoyed expression. She handed me a slender pitch black folder, telling me I've been selected by a new client to work for them. Before I could thank her, She walked out of sight. I returned to my mattress, opening the folder to reveal a single document. Dear Franklin, redacted. Unless you prefer Scotch, I am excited to inform you of your new position starting immediately as of reading this letter. You have been reassigned to our facility and will be transported there within 12 hours of deliverance of this letter. Please consider this letter as a briefing for your first mission for us. You've been assigned to acquire Subject 001. We have deduced they have been residing within our ranks. Jonathan, redacted. We believe you will have the best results due to your relationship with the individual, as well as the hunters known as Tex and Arachne. Sincerely, Cryptids Experiments. When I finished the letter, I reread it over and over. I couldn't handle what just happened over the last day. It felt like my entire world shifted from one reality to another. Another white sheet of paper caught my attention, resting on Jonathan's pillow. I don't remember it being there before. Picking it up, familiar handwriting formed upon the paper. Scotch, I don't know if you'll find this, but I hope it reaches you. You've likely noticed my disappearance by this point. I'm sorry. It wasn't my choice. I'm writing this with the last of my willpower I have left. I'll try to explain to you what happened after we arrived at the bar. My brain was in shock, trying to come to terms with the recent death of Tex. My clammy hands grasped the glass with cold liquid as I swallowed it quickly. The more I drank, the more my mind was numbed. You were a sobbing mess beside me, dampening the wood of the bar counter with your tears. A stack of hundreds sat in front of your collection of glasses. Before long, your head dropped, connecting with the counter with a soft thud. You don't even care about me. Why am I still with you? My attention was drawn to a nearby table behind me. A couple sat at the table. The young man was berated by who I assumed to be his girlfriend across from him. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched as a very well-dressed man strode calmly to their table. He stood at 6.5 feet. His strands of black hair waved across his forehead with each footstep. His eyes glistening a bright blue. His suit seemed tailor-made, having not a scratch on it. The gentleman arrived at the table, halting the conversation immediately. He reached his hand towards the woman, resting it upon her shoulder. His voice felt smooth, as if it grabbed your attention, muting all of your other senses.
This world no longer needs you.
Upon finishing his statement, the woman's head collapsed on the table, her eyes wide open and lifeless. Turning to the young man, he spoke once more.
Have a good night, Michael.
His gaze fell upon me, causing a grin to spread across his face. His pace quickened as he advanced towards the counter, sitting upon the stool next to mine.
Ancient One, I can't believe you're here. It's been so long since we've seen each other.
He spoke as if to an old friend. I returned his greeting with a question. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you? The gentleman answered.
You may call me Drake, dear retainer. Your name wouldn't happen to be Jonathan, would it?
My eyes widened at his question, making his grin wider than it was previously.
I am simply here to awaken His Majesty, and to give his retainer their last few hours of life, before they become another helpless spectator in their own body.
The fear in my eyes spread to my throat, drying it, causing me to take another shot of the liquid before me. Allowing the burning liquid to rest in my stomach, I spoke. What do you mean by retainer? Retaining what? My question seemed to bother Drake, causing him to roll his eyes as if he had answered that same question multiple times before.
I'm fairly certain you're familiar with the concept of a god, correct? This is the tale of one in particular. Their fascination with humankind was above all others, even his creator's own ambitions. One day, a few thousand years in the past, he decided to experience human life. He traveled from the astral realm to the world of humans and possessed one. Over the time of 3 days, he had experienced every pleasure known to your kind. Upon attempting to exit the human's body, they were unable. He was trapped. He went as far as to call his fellow gods to help him escape his flesh prison, only to imprison them as well. One of these gods was sent to punish the first god, choosing the strongest of humans to control, cementing his own fate of inescapable life. Over the centuries, most of the descended were mercifully slain by the Punisher, while the rest have accepted their fate and live to this day. The Ancient One, the god who imprisoned the rest, resides within you. I cannot take your life, nor can you take your own. It is a fate of absolute torture as you watch yourself commit horrendous acts, helpless. Your voice of agony shall join the chorus of previous retainers. Now sleep, for this will be the last rest of your own volition.
My eyelids drifted closed rather quickly, my head connecting with the counter alongside your resting head. The sound of Drake's footsteps echoed as my consciousness faded. When I awoke, I noticed my surroundings had changed. It was nighttime. I sat up in my bed, seeing you passed out on the bed parallel to mine. I found myself in control of my body, yet I couldn't feel it, as if it were numb. With what I was certain was the last of my free will, I began to write this note. I hope this journal tells you more than what I could ever say. Scotch, if you're reading this, I hope we'll see each other again. Entry 10. Scotch again. I've decided to keep Jonathan's journal. It's the only thing I have left of him. I've gone through Texas files on these subjects. It looks like I'm going to be very busy. Right now, I'm on a jet headed to meet Arachne at the new base. This is the last entry, at least in Kid's journal. Maybe I'll start my own. It was my joke that made him start writing this one. Anyway, you may hear from me again. You may not. Later. Hey guys, 4Shot Pastas here. I want to thank Tee Stache for writing this story and asking me to narrate it, of all people. It's a great story, and I really appreciate that he actually voice acted in this one too. I hope you guys have a good day and stay creepin'.